Hey, what's up everyone? This video is going to be regarding what I'm sure many of you have already seen, all over the news and all over the internet, regarding the protesting of our own national anthem here in the United States, and protesting our own country's flag. Now, to me, this is the stupidest thing, one of the most stupid things that I've heard. I mean, why would you protest your own flag? So many people fought and died for this nation. So many people who lived in the past lived through very, very hard times. That's putting it in kind, simple words. They lived through some very difficult times, and they fought and they died so that we could have, well, the freedom that is being not only has been for the past many years being taken away from us to begin with, but I'm not going to cover that topic for this video. I don't like to cause controversy on this channel, but I mean, I just needed to talk about this. It's not something that people like to talk about. It's not something that you want to hear. Something, it's something uncomfortable, obviously, for some people out there, but, the truth is not always comfortable. The truth isn't always just something something you want to hear. So, but the thing is, protesting your own flag and your own nation's national anthem, who does that? Unless you don't love your own country or don't like your own country, and if you don't like your own country, then just by all means go. Get out. You're not going to go to another country. I mean, none of us would be allowed to go to another country. Any country. Say, for example, if we went to Italy or France, and suddenly we go over there and say, I hate your country and I hate your flag, or I'm protesting your anthem, I'm protesting your flag, I'm going to kneel for it. They'd say, heck no, get out. I mean, you just don't do that. Or forced to speak a different. If we were to go to another country and start, they'd be telling us, you're gonna have to speak our language. Basically, that's another thing that they would tell us. And I respect all people. I mean, I respect everyone. There have been people of all backgrounds, all nationalities. There have been people of all different beliefs, and they have come up to me. I held the door open for them, and they said, "Wow, thank you very much." And it was like Elvis Presley there, but they said thank you, and they spoke to me, or they would talk to me because they felt comfortable speaking to me. And then there are others that look at you of other races or other nationalities. They look at you like they want to kill you, literally, just hate your guts for no reason. Because I go up automatically respecting every individual. As long as they're kind and respectful to me, I'm kind and I respect them. I usually do the kindness and respecting first, and, sometimes I get a nice reaction, many times I do, and sometimes I don't. But I hold the door open for people, I'm kind to them. The Hindus really seem very, very fond of me. They're very kind to me because, I'm just always very nice, and they always call me buddy. They didn't used to be that way as much, but now they always call me buddy. And I'm very kind to all people, no matter what their background, belief, or their nationality is. No matter what mine is, I'm still kind and respectful of theirs. And it didn't used to matter if you were okay, you were a Democrat, okay, you were a Republican, okay, you voted this way or that way, or you feel this way or that way. Okay, that's fine. Oh man, our president the president we hoped for didn't get in office. Okay, well, maybe next time. We'll just wait another 4 years and see. But it wasn't, not everyone agreed with the previous administration, and many of the things, and mind you, unlawful things that took place during the previous administration and had their negatives. Could we say anything about it? Were we allowed to do anything about it? No. No matter what, we weren't allowed to do anything about it. We just waited, hoping that the next administration, there would be a change. Mind you, which was the exact same thing the previous administration ran on. Change. The word change. And it wound up all being for the negative. And then they're fussing about this slogan of President Trump's slogan, which is basically practically the same thing with different wording. Change. Make America great again. Well, change, um, the previous administration's campaign slogan, change, would imply that we needed a change to take place. This administration's slogan, make America great again, or keep America great as the next campaign slogan is implying that we need a change to take place. So how different was that than the previous administration's running campaign slogan? But anyway, they didn't complain about that. And in the beginning, he stated several things regarding immigration and other things the previous administration did that we needed doing. That's the exact same things that this administration has stated, but yet he never acted upon those things that he had stated. He wound up putting several things in place that were the opposite of what he stated, and at the end, not only did the previous administration at the very end of their presidency jab at at Israel. They literally, he could not stand Netanyahu of Israel, which, if you're on the side of God, you're supposed to help out the nation of Israel because it's important spiritually, physically, and an important historical area as well. But and prophetically, it's important in many different ways. And the previous administration hated. I mean, he just did not like that. And he would, at the very last moment, he unsigned this bill, and he just got totally angry at Israel. That's what they stated. I'll never forget that. And they said it's like he did everything he could against Israel. Then this administration, the Trump administration, wound up destroying everything, vetoing everything, executive orders. He brought executive orders in and just redid everything. And they're fussing about the executive orders that this administration did, but they never once thought about there were consistent executive orders during the previous administration. Constant executive orders, executive orders. This one's doing executive orders, and they said, a president's supposed to go through Congress. Well, I thought that the entire time during the previous administration, but I never seen him go through Congress. Anyway, but back to the protesting of the national anthem and protesting your own flag. That's the stupidest thing, and the president is correct. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Yes, you have a right to the freedom of speech, but, I mean, why would you protest your own flag? If anything, people should have been protesting many, many years in the past by all the things that they were forcing people to do, forcing them to comply with. We just had to go along with it. People just had to go along with whatever they said. Okay, yeah, we have to do this. Okay, it's the law. We have to comply. The government owns us. The system owns us. They own us. They tell us what to do, and we just follow through because we're a bunch of lemmings that just have to do exactly what they say. And yes, you have to have control, and I understand monitoring to much of an extent, certain extent, because of the stupid terrorist acts and crazy things that happen in this world. People doing dumb, horrible things, and then they also take advantage of that and use these excuses to take away our own freedom as well. They will take advantage of that and create these things that do take away our freedom, but the point is, though, you don't see other countries protesting their own national anthem and their own flag. Why are we doing that over here? And why now? Why not during other administrations that have done things that were very, very protestable? Very protestable then, if that's a word, if that's even a word. Things that were worthy of protesting that the previous administrations did that no one protested then. We just rolled along with it. And used to, if you said you were Republican, okay, that's whatever. You might not support it, but people didn't want to kill you over it. And then they talk about bullying. I mean, they say, well, we're ending bullying. But yet, bullying is still around in another entire way. They're bullying anyone that is not for the agenda that they are pushing, or bullying anyone that does not feel like that, does not support the administration that they want them to support, or bullying people that people are being bullied for not supporting the political views and points of views and parties that they want you to support. And they brainwash every day with media, with news, television shows, all over. Commercials, movies do it, shows do it, Internet videos do it, and they target our children. They target people in schools. They're programming their minds to think a certain way instead of having their freedom, while claiming that we have freedom, claiming freedom of speech as the reason why they can say the things that they want to say, but yet restrict the people who feel differently from their own freedoms and freedoms of speech. And that is just wrong. That is control, that's mind control, and that is not constitutional. That is not, that's not real freedom. And that's more of like a communism type of society. That is really technically not freedom at all. And if we were going to protest anything, why didn't we start protesting when they started taking away our freedoms? Our freedom. And the fact that they are focusing on, yes, this president, this administration has made mistakes. Put his foot in his mouth several times. He's made several mistakes. But those mistakes that he made, as far as his the things that he did with people, the mistakes that he's made that are being brought to the mainstream media right now, and continuously those people are being treated like celebrities. I mean, the mistakes that he's made in the past, that's between him and his wife. That's between himself and God and his wife. That's between him. Plus, constitutionally, what matters is what took place during his presidency. These events took place months before he was president. So, as far as we know publicly, they have not put any information out of any affairs or anything like that during his administration term. During his term as president, these things have not happened. And if you look in the Constitution, you'll see that anything during the presidency is what is important and what can be used to have a president impeached or taken out of office. President Clinton, under all of the guidelines of the Constitution, President Clinton, yes, he had several things that worked for him, and he worked well with foreign policy. He worked well with foreign countries, and he worked well keeping our nation's debt down. Now, he pulled several strings, and he basically was able to maneuver things in a certain way and basically pay off these foreign countries to a point, really, in a way. He was kind of doing things in a way that would just kind of put things off, and it lowered our nation's debt. Basically, kind of a lot of bribery, and he was really good with words and he was a good speaker and was able to keep the debt down and do things how the elites wanted, basically. Clinton was a good speaker and a smooth talker. So, but basically, what he did was he kept our nation's debt down. But, regardless of what he did, under all the guidelines of the Constitution, he was in grounds of impeachment. But what did they do? Because they wanted him in there, they don't want this administration in there, so they're looking for everything they can to remove him from office, because they can't stand the fact that he's in there. And I don't support everything he does. He's made mistakes. Everyone has. But, or as I like to call mistakes, life-altering decisions. Experiences you learn from. But the thing is, the Clinton administration was in legal grounds of impeachment. But he wasn't impeached because the elites wanted him to stay in there. They wanted him to stay in office, so they did everything they could to just let him stay in there. But they legally documented and put in documentation that he was impeached. And it was stated he was impeached halfway through. Okay, he was impeached. And he really wasn't in power, he wasn't president, but they said, we'll let him remain sitting president. Be a sitting president in office. And it was the first time a president that was impeached actually remained in office, sitting in office, and in power. So, whoever they want in there is who they is who they let be in control, and if it goes any other way than what they want, they can't stand it. And I don't agree with everything, and no one is going to agree with everything, but I don't agree with this control. And he is the first person who's actually stated the truth about the control of society, the control of media. We were heading in a direction that was fully controlled. I mean, I seen it taking off. I mean, massively. I seen it. We all did. We seen it taking off massively. The control and the divide, the racial divide that was being created during the previous administration. There were shooting of police officers. Have people forgotten about this? There were shootings every single day. Hundreds of police officers all the time being shot. White police officers were shot, or white people shot a black person, or a crazy, stupid mess like this. Police officers were being targeted all of the time, and nothing was being done about it. Did they forget about that? Have they forgotten those things that took place? Did they forget all about that? And let's just wash that under the bridge. Let's just sweep it under the rug. That's water under the bridge. No, it's not. It happened. There were massive shootings every single week you heard about on the news, and almost every day a new shooting. And situations where the people were stating mind control was taking place. There were situations where all of these FEMA camps, you've seen all these mass coffins, you've seen all these guillotines orders, you've seen all these... I mean, I witnessed it on the news, I was seeing it online, that all these things were happening during the previous administration, and no one said anything about it in either the mainstream media or these people who now are stating that this administration is so bad. They never bring that up. I'm sorry that I sound so frustrated, but it frustrates me greatly. So they ordered, they had several things that took place. They were going against Israel 100% majorly. They were creating a deal that, for the Middle East that, well, I'll discuss that in another video. But they went in there and they gave a lot of the weapons over to from Syria, and they basically, what they did was give them time to hide the weapons when they went to Iran. During the previous administration, they gave them 48 hours. They said, we'll give you 48 hours, then we'll go in there. The United Nations will send them in there and check the weapons. I remember that happening years ago. And so, if there was any reason for protest, that would be probable cause for protest, in my opinion, during the previous administration. And it's not because of the race of the previous administration. I mean, I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, purple, green, orange, or whatever. I don't care if you go against the Constitution, if you can't run a country, you just can't. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's just if you go against the Constitution and you're unconstitutional and you're doing wrong, you're just doing wrong. I mean, it's just obvious. But what I was trying to state was, during the previous administration, there were several states, multiple states, that were trying out this, and during the TPP, around the time of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, there were what they stated about 5 different sections of it that had to do with trade, and a lot of it had to do with trade with the European Union, and it kind of merged us into this global society. And they were stating, and he stated the word globalization many different times, and globalization was a interconnection of the financial system and everyone being interconnected worldwide. So they were working on this facial recognition and biometrics technology that was being pushed to the forefront and being mentioned on the media consistently quite a bit. And it was brought to the forefront of our attention, and it was being pushed a lot. Still is, but not to the extent of the previous administration. And not only that, during the TPP, a few parts had to do with where they were, the trade was kind of, it was putting basically globalization, kind of pushing that along. But see, where they had full control, and Obama, technically the previous administration would have had full control over this and being the head of it. But I'll get to that in another video. But there's so many things to complain about from previous administrations, but yet they're just really riding on this one. I mean, riding on the Trump administration. And it just frustrates me to see how one-sided things are in this society. But if you remember, many of you, I don't know if you remember, a lot of these articles are gone now, or they're saying it was false under fact check. But I remembered it happening. I seen it. I looked up the news. So what happened was, it was going to be illegal. They had you couldn't have children work at all or even help you on the farm. It would have been illegal under child labor laws under the previous administration. Someone was arrested for it out west in the Midwestern states. They were going to outlaw any type of coal fires in the house for pollution or something like that. And that's only a small 1% of the pollution in this world. And they were going to go and arrest you if you had a stove, an old wood stove or anything like that. Now they're claiming that was false news, but that was news on Hours Television, that was news on the World News. I witnessed it. Now it's considered fake or false news under fact checks, but that's not true. It happened. I seen it, I witnessed it, I read it, and I watched it. But okay, now back to what they were going to do. They were going to create martial law. They were working on martial law, and I seen this on several news sources. They said, well, if you looked at, there were several states, I forget how many, but there were a few states, and Indiana was one of them, that had several mosques in their state. Well, they were going to try out some Muslim or Islam was going to try out, the United States said that they were going to try implementing the Islamic law. Sharia law was going to happen. They were going to create martial law. Not martial law, but Sharia law. So Sharia law was going to be implemented in a few different states. They were going to try it in a few counties first, especially the ones that had more people of Islamic faith, of Islamic people, more Muslims. And they were going to implement Sharia law. Sharia law is religious law, but not Christianity, or believers in Christ, but Muslim or Islamic religious law. But under the Constitution, there's not only a separation of church and state, but there is a rule under the Constitution that you cannot mix religious law of any kind with government law in the United States that governs this nation. You can't mix religious law with the laws of the nation. But under the previous administration, they ratified this a little bit and did some executive orders trying to create Sharia law in the places that, in the particular states that had more Muslims and people of the Islamic belief than other states, because certain states like Indiana had more Islamic people. So they were going to, and they claimed it was unfair that they did not get the same amount of rights, and so the Muslims were going to get their rights by creating Sharia law in those states. So they had several mosques, and they were going to, and I seen this, I witnessed it on the news, they decided to try out Sharia law in several districts of those states. And if it worked out, it would happen through other states as well. Sharia law is religious law in the Middle East. And that's taking, we wouldn't be able to go over there and spread Christian laws and belief system over there without being killed or arrested or whatever. You wouldn't be able to go over there and do that and say, well, we're going to make our laws over there. They would just say, no way, goodbye, or arrest you, but the previous administration was creating Sharia law, was allowing Sharia law to be possibly implemented in several states, and Sharia law means religious law, and under the Constitution, you cannot create you cannot use religious law of any kind. That goes for any religion at all in existence. You cannot use that religious law and mix religion with the government, the governing government of the United States. The Constitution forbids that, and Sharia law means religious law, but it's just Islamic religious law. And that was being implemented in several different states across this country then. And how is that not unconstitutional when they're complaining about this administration being unconstitutional? So I realize I've gone on for a long time, but I just wanted to state that if this administration is unconstitutional, how is the previous administration not unconstitutional? How? Why are people protesting now? Because they're brainwashed, that's why. Why are people protesting now? And why protest your own flag and your own constitution, your own national anthem, unless you just don't like your own country? And if you don't like your own country, then just get out. You can just get out. Get out. As I said on South Park. But anyway, yeah, why protest your own nation's national anthem and flag? Now, I can see protesting with the way things have been going in the past, but currently, it's been a whole lot worse, I'll just state that. And people are acting like it's the worst thing in existence ever right now, but it's because they're brainwashed by the media. They're brainwashed by the people at the top telling them that it's so wrong. People are being brainwashed every single day. And yes, this administration has made mistakes. This president has made mistakes. Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone's made life-altering decisions. But that's for them to deal with. And unless it's what has happened during this administration, during their time in office, then it should not affect anything. Now, if he had done something that was going to affect this nation, if he had done something against this nation, or some sort of treason against this nation, or something like that, that would need to be investigated. That's a whole other scenario, an entire different ballgame. So, that's all I've got to say. Several things were done during the previous administration and past administrations, and they let it go. They just brushed it under the rug, washed it under the bridge. It's water under the bridge. Let's forget about it. Let's forget about all that other stuff. They didn't impeach Clinton. They had several grounds of reason to impeach the previous administrations. They didn't do it. They had several reasons, unconstitutional things that took place during the previous administration, the last one. They didn't stop it. Not a word was said. But they were so sure that they had it in the bag, that this particular election was going to turn out the way they wanted, that they have not been able to let it go since. What was the last words that Hillary Clinton said the day before the election? She said, let's just hope that when the other side loses, that when Donald Trump loses, that he can accept his loss civilly. That he can accept his loss in a civilized way. Let's hope he can let it go. And what's happened ever since the very day that she had to eat those words and that the other side had to eat those words? They have not let it go. They have not lost gracefully. They could not stand it, and they've done investigations and tried every single way possible, including postponing things and postponing and doing a second election, and they never even worried about that before. They've done everything they possibly could do to keep from losing and to turn this around the way they want since they lost. They have not been able to handle their loss, so who are they to say anything about him? And they were stating they're being hypocritical by not being able to handle their loss after stating would he be able to handle his. So and now they're trying to control everything, and you have people protesting their own national anthem and their own United States flag. To me, that is stupid. That is completely insane. If anything, we need to protest the state of our nation, the state of our country, the disarray that's taking place, and the divide that's been taking place, but not just this administration. They're just only pointing out the divide during this administration. It's been happening for many, many years, and caused by the people before us. That's all for this video. I thank you for watching. Peace. Bye.